Well, folks, it seems some things just keep coming back. Like cicadas, or that one song you thought you'd escaped. And now, in 2025, cloud coffee is making another grand appearance. You remember cloud coffee, right? That whipped, frothy concoction that took the internet by storm a few years back. It was everywhere. Suddenly, everyone was a barista, whipping up coffee into a delightful, airy foam. Now it seems the clouds are gathering once more, and we need to investigate why this caffeinated cumulus is drifting back into our kitchens and social media feeds. Social media is buzzing again with pictures of perfectly dolloped coffee clouds. New generations are discovering it. Older generations are rediscovering it. It's like a retro food trend, but with a very modern, shareable aesthetic. The visual appeal is undeniable. That perfect swirl, that rich caramel color sitting atop a glass of milk. This time, it feels a little more knowing, a little less frantic than its first appearance. So what's different this time around, you ask? Good question. Sometimes these revivals come with a twist, a new ingredient, a slightly altered technique. The core of cloud coffee remains the same: instant coffee, sugar, and hot water whipped into submission. But the conversation around it seems to have matured. People are sharing more variations, more tips. Let's grab our whisks and our curiosity. It's time to find out if this coffee trend has truly earned its place in the caffeinated Hall of Fame, or if it's just a bit of fluffy nostalgia. Alright, let's talk about what you need to gather for this cloud-making endeavor. The beauty of cloud coffee lies in its simplicity. You don't need a fancy espresso machine. You don't need rare imported beans. The primary players are humble, yet crucial. First up, instant coffee. Yes, the granulated stuff. This is non-negotiable for the classic recipe. You'll need about 2 tablespoons of this. Next, sugar. Plain granulated sugar works best, also about 2 tablespoons. This isn't just for sweetness, it's vital for the structure of the foam. Then comes the hot water, again 2 tablespoons. Notice a pattern here, equal parts. This ratio is key. The water needs to be hot, but not necessarily boiling. Now let's talk alternatives, because good eats are all about options. For the instant coffee, a darker roast might give you a more intense flavor. If you're watching your sugar intake, you can try reducing it slightly, but be warned, it might affect the stability and texture of your cloud. And for the liquid component, it's always milk for serving. Your choice here: whole milk, skim milk, almond milk, oat milk, whatever floats your boat. Finally, the tools. You'll need a bowl. A medium-sized one is good, and then the whisk. You can go old school with a manual whisk or use an electric hand mixer to save time and effort. Now for the action, the transformation. Take your bowl, add your 2 tablespoons of instant coffee, add your 2 tablespoons of sugar, and finally, add your 2 tablespoons of hot water. It will look like a dark, unpromising sludge at this point. Don't be discouraged. Give it a quick stir with your whisk just to combine the ingredients slightly before you begin the real work. If you're using a manual whisk, prepare for a journey. Start whisking vigorously. You're aiming to incorporate as much air as possible into the mixture. At first, it will just get a little bubbly. Keep going. You'll notice the color starting to lighten, moving from a dark brown to a lighter tan. This is a good sign. Your arm might start to complain. This is also a sign, perhaps, that you should switch arms or take a very brief pause. With an electric hand mixer, the process is significantly faster. Start on a low speed to avoid splattering, then gradually increase it. The mixture will begin to thicken and increase in volume. The color will change dramatically, from dark coffee to a beautiful light caramel or even a pale beige. How long does it take? Manually, you could be whisking for a good 5 to 10 minutes, maybe even longer. With an electric mixer, you might achieve peak fluffiness in as little as 2 to 4 minutes. The goal is to reach what bakers call stiff peaks. This means when you lift the whisk out of the mixture, the foam holds its shape. It should look thick, glossy, and, well, cloud-like. You've successfully whipped air into a coffee sugar solution, creating a stable foam. Science is delicious, isn't it? Section 4. My own Cloud 9, a personal taste test adventure. All right, the moment of truth had arrived in my own kitchen. I had my perfectly whipped light brown coffee cloud shimmering in the bowl. It looked impressive, I have to admit, like a soft coffee-flavored meringue. I prepared my base, a tall glass filled with cold milk and a few ice cubes. The anticipation was building. This wasn't my first cloud coffee rodeo, but it had been a while. Would it live up to the nostalgia? Would it still feel like a treat? I carefully spooned a generous dollop of the coffee foam on top of the milk. It floated beautifully, a perfect little cloud. The visual appeal is, without a doubt, a huge part of the cloud coffee experience. It's an Instagram-worthy drink, no question. The contrast between the dark milk and the light, airy topping is quite striking. I took a moment, snapped a mental picture. Okay, maybe a real picture too. For science, of course. Then, the first sip. Or rather, the first attempt at a sip. Do you stir it? Do you try to get a bit of foam and milk together? I opted for a bit of both. The combined taste was much more balanced. The bitterness of the coffee, the sweetness of the foam, and the coolness of the milk all came together. My candid reaction? It's fun. It's definitely a treat. The texture is the real star here. That velvety smoothness is unlike your average iced latte. Section 5. The final froth. Is cloud coffee worth the effort in 2025? So, after all that whipping and tasting, what's the final verdict on cloud coffee in 2025? My honest opinion, it's still a delightful novelty. It's fun to make, satisfying to look at, and quite tasty in its own sweet way. Is it going to replace my morning pour-over or my occasional espresso? Probably not. The intense sweetness and the specific flavor of instant coffee make it more of a dessert-like beverage or an occasional afternoon pick-me-up rather than a daily driver for a serious coffee aficionado. But that's perfectly okay. Not every drink needs to be a complex artisanal experience. Let's talk flavor variations, because that's where you can really make cloud coffee your own. A tiny splash of vanilla extract in the whipping mixture can add a lovely warmth. A dusting of cocoa powder or cinnamon on top before serving? Excellent choices. Some people even add a pinch of salt to the coffee mixture to enhance the flavors. If you're feeling particularly adventurous, a drop of peppermint extract around the holidays, or a little maple syrup in place of some sugar for an autumnal vibe, could be interesting experiments. The cloud is your canvas. And don't forget your milk choices. Using almond milk will give it a nutty undertone. Oat milk, known for its creaminess, complements the foam beautifully. Soy milk works well too. Even chocolate milk as a base can turn this into a mocha cloud hybrid, which sounds pretty fantastic, doesn't it? Ultimately, cloud coffee is worth trying, especially if you missed the initial wave, or if you're just looking for a simple, enjoyable kitchen project. So go ahead, give it a whisk, and tell me, what are your thoughts? Have you tried the 2025 cloud coffee? What are your favorite variations? Share your experiences, your successes, and even your funny failures. Let's keep the coffee conversation brewing.